Tensions between Russia and the European Union, EU, have escalated significantly since the conflict in Ukraine began. Previously, 40% of the EU's natural gas supply came from Russia, but the situation has drastically changed due to sanctions and geopolitical friction. Russia's threat to cut gas supplies to countries refusing to pay in rubles is now becoming a reality. Recently, Austria officially stopped receiving natural gas from Russia. This decision may soon extend to the rest of Europe, as Russia plans to halt gas transit through Ukraine entirely by January 1, 2025. As a result, European countries are scrambling to find alternative energy sources, which are inevitably more expensive, to avoid a severe winter energy crisis. Gas supply to Austria halted. Austria has imported gas from Russia since the Cold War, making this winter particularly challenging as the country faces significant energy shortfalls. Austria's alternatives include importing gas from the US and Qatar via ships, which come at a much higher cost. The country's heavy reliance on Russian energy, 98% of its natural gas needs in December 2023 were supplied by Russia, makes the shift even more difficult. On November 16, 2024, Russia's state-owned gas company Gazprom officially ceased gas deliveries to Austria's primary energy provider, OMV. The decision followed a press conference by Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer, where he assured citizens that Austria had secured alternative energy supplies for the winter. Nehammer stated, "We will not be blackmailed by anyone, including President Putin." Former Austrian energy regulator Walter Boltz echoed the sentiment, noting that while Austria may avoid supply shortages, higher costs are inevitable. Broader European impact. Austria's decision to cut ties with Russian energy stems from a broader issue. According to Reuters, Ukraine has refused to negotiate new transit terms with Russia, which means the current 5-year agreement will end. Without a deal, all Russian gas flowing through Ukraine to Europe may cease by January 1, 2025. Although the volume of gas transported via Ukraine has already declined significantly, about 15 billion cubic meters in 2023, just 8% of Russia's peak gas flows to Europe, the potential cessation still poses a dilemma for the EU. Historically, Russian gas reached Europe through various routes, including the Soviet-era Urmy-Pomory-Uzhgorod pipeline, which runs through conflict zones in Ukraine's Kursk region to Slovakia. Other pipelines, such as Yamal Europe through Belarus and Nord Stream under the Baltic Sea, are no longer operational. The only remaining active routes are the Blue Stream and Turk Stream pipelines under the Black Sea, which primarily supply Turkey. EU's energy dilemma. Despite efforts to reduce dependence on Russian energy, some EU countries still rely on Russian gas. In 2022, nearly a fifth of Europe's gas supply came from Russia. Energy Commissioner Kadri Simpson recently reiterated the EU's commitment to phasing out Russian gas without compromising energy security. However, countries like Slovakia, Hungary, and Austria, which maintain closer ties with Moscow, challenge the EU's unified approach, arguing that Russian gas remains the most economical option. Neighboring countries have also raised concerns about high transit fees for alternative gas supplies. For instance, Ukraine still earns $800 million to $1 billion annually in transit fees, while Russia generates over $3 billion in revenue from gas sales through Ukraine. These dynamics add to the complexity of cutting off Russian energy. Austria's shift and broader adaptation. The decision by Gazprom to stop supplying Austria has heightened concerns about energy shortages. Ulrich Schmid, an Eastern Europe Studies professor at the University of St. Gallen, interprets this move as a signal from Moscow to Austria's political elite. Schmid speculates that Russia feels emboldened by recent developments, such as Donald Trump's election victory, which may impact the West's stance on Ukraine. Germany's response has also drawn attention. Shortly after Russia announced it would stop gas supplies to Austria, President Vladimir Putin and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz held their first phone call since 2022. While Kremlin officials hinted at a willingness to negotiate energy agreements with Berlin, Germany's softened stance could reflect its efforts to adapt to the crisis. EU's complex energy transition. The EU's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and its efforts to reduce energy dependence have been remarkable but insufficient. Countries like Italy have significantly reduced Russian pipeline imports, yet they continue to receive substantial volumes of gas via Austria. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has brokered agreements to import gas from Azerbaijan, but this raises questions about Azerbaijan's own dependence on Russian imports to meet domestic demand. Meanwhile, EU member states like Romania and Hungary have secured deals with Turkey, which relies entirely on imported gas. Turkey's primary gas supplier is, unsurprisingly, Russia. Data from Chatham House, citing Bruegel, reveals that EU imports of liquefied natural gas, LNG, from Russia increased by 37.7% between 2021 and 2023. This paradox highlights the EU's ongoing struggle to fully sever ties with Russian energy. What lies ahead? The EU's sanctions against Russia have inadvertently deepened its energy crisis. Many European countries now face a difficult choice: compromise with Putin or continue to endure economic strain. The situation remains dynamic, and it will be intriguing to see how the EU navigates this complex challenge in the coming months.